All right, welcome back to block party number 16. After a break, Melvin, did you have something you wanted to add? Go for it.
Yeah, I just, make a comment. I think that our job is to try to contribute to the healthy evolution of life for all, and that would benefit everyone, rather than the narrative that we can't save everyone. See, when we broaden our narrative, our conversation is that what we here to do is to contribute to the healthy evolution of life for all. It's more inclusive because this is the truth. What we're doing now, and I can say you guys are doing because I'm just following along really. You're only going to have a handful of people, a few people trying to do all the work, and everybody else will benefit from it. That's how human societies have been organized from the beginning. There will be one or two, a catalyst that get everything going. And we are that catalyst, or you guys are that catalyst. And we're trying to do this for the benefit of humanity. And the story that we can't save everyone, we should have the stories that we hear to contribute to the healthy evolution of life for the benefit of everyone, including animals. And I think that's a more inclusive narrative. Because I know some people, I worked in behavioral health. These people have been beaten down so bad by life that all they want to do is to lay right there in their piss and drink their wine and don't want to get up. They've been kicked that hard. Life has hit them that hard that they say, I'll just stay right here because I don't want to take another hard blow. I've suffered enough and I just stay in this suffering right here. So we have to recognize that one man could get knocked down or one woman could get knocked down. They could spring right back up. Might take another person 6 months to get up. Might take another person 6 years to get up. But what we want to do is try to create the conditions so that all can thrive and live a healthy life, and you don't have to lay there in your piss, or lay there in poverty, or lay there in destitution. So that's what happened when the spirit gets smashed out of people. They'll just lay there in poverty. They'll lay there in destitution. And it'll seem like they don't want any help. Just they've been kicked and stomped so long that they say, I'd rather stay right here than get kicked again. Ashe. I'm going to get back to work.
Gosh, Melvin, you're reminding me of an experience I had years ago. It was a Native American friend of mine who was alcoholic, and I didn't know him very well at the time, and I was down at the Center for Wooden Boats in Seattle working on the canoe, and I kind of saw him slumped over on this bench, and I went over and said, "Hey man, are you okay?" And he kind of moaned at me, and I said, "Here." I handed him a $20 bill, and I said, "Here, let's go get you some water and some food. Have you had any water or food in the last 24 hours?" And he's like, "No, we've been out drinking." I'm like, "Come on, man, let's go get you some food and water." And we walked over to the gas station because that's kind of the only place where we could buy that right nearby, and got him water and got him some food from there and from the shop. And I heard like a few days later that he had ended up in the hospital from severe dehydration, and that bottle of water that I bought him and that little bit of food saved his life, even though he ended up in the hospital. And so I'm just thinking about what you're saying, Melvin. It's like these acts of kindness and us role modeling things, and just handing out the water and the good, vegan food and and inspiring people and uplifting people, you just never know how you could save lives, you know, at any given moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm all for that as well. Perhaps I should have not phrased it that way at the end, but I suppose the main point is that we can't convince everyone of what it is we're doing here. You know what I mean? I can't convince you for reasons which satisfy me, is what I was saying. Like, so we can't convince everyone of what it is we're doing here, but we can continue to do what it is we're doing here to inspire others that can be influenced, is what I'm saying. So that's just basically going on what Jackie was about. We can't save everyone, but we can't convince everyone either. So, you know, but we can only do what we can do ourselves and continue to just do it because it's the right thing to do.
You know, I like what Sailesh was saying about supporting instead of doing the protesting, instead of joining in the fight and the resistance, bringing in the support and showing up, and that shows support. And it made me think about with the Interfaith Vegan Coalition, how they lovingly do that. They look for opportunities that or events, summits that are discussing animal activism, that are not discussing animal agriculture, but are discussing like the earth or religious celebrations, where we can bring the Interfaith Vegan Coalition and bring the message into there. So it's almost like the same thing when these other social injustices are popping up. We need to bring the support. We need to continue to shine that why we're doing what we're doing it will end all of this. It's all interconnectedness, and we don't have to come up with signs, and we could just show up with the food and just say, we love you, you're right, we're here, you know, we support you, we're one. Let's bring you the water, let's bring you the food, let's make sure that you have shade. Like, that's what we can do, is we can go in with food healers every time there's something like this going on and say, we're together, it's all one, we got you. You know, that's the message. And I think that's so beautiful to show up. And again, yeah, a lot of us are tired of fighting. I'm tired of fighting, but I'll love you with some food.
Yeah, Jackie, that's beautiful. Right on, sister. I mean, that's reminding me of a story Michael Mead from Mosaic Voices told about. He was working with gangs in inner city space areas, and he'd get these two rival gangs together, and he's working on, you know, healing the relationships. They weren't killing each other any longer, but they actually became brothers. And the way he got them to put their arms down and start communicating with each other in nonviolent ways was by bringing food. And he created this feast for everybody, and everyone sat down to share the meal together. And that opened up conversation. Feed the tummy, feed the brain, start the conversation. I love you guys. I gotta actually do some drawing work in my studio because my show's opening next week, my art show, and it's very noisy, so I won't be able to hear you, but I'll jump back in later. So love you guys.
Love you, sweetheart. See you soon. All right, So's got her hand up. Melvin, I see you're unmuted. Did you want to be muted, unmuted?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just want to say it takes some of everything to bring about the change. You know, the civil rights struggle, some people didn't have to take the and get spit on and dog spit, but some people wanted to do that. You needed that direct confrontation of the system. What's going on in Milwaukee? I mean, people out there doing that there, and we have to embrace them and support them, and don't make it seem like they're looters. And it's part of the struggle. It's going to be lost. And I can't say that I got the heart in front of the police what they're doing, or any. I see the people doing the thing that they did in the civil rights struggle. I don't know if I got the courage to do what the people who were involved in the civil rights struggle did, but their work was necessary. So it's going to take a little bit of everything, you know. And I think Deborah Freeze, I really like the story that she tells about the walkouts, the hospice workers, and everything. So we all have a role.
Beautiful. Thank you, Melvin.
You know, I'm gonna have to leave because I got to do a Zoom presentation for a client. So I'll be back.
All right, we'll be here. Love you,
Okay.
Melvin, brother. We'll see you soon.
All right, bye.
All righty. And So has her hand up. Go for it, So.
I need to check a fact before I mention what I was going to say. So I'll be back on it. Thank you.
Sure. Anyway, love what Melvin shared. I mean, and Jackie previously. I think we just got to just do what we're doing and do it big and do it fast, and, you know, invite the world and just get the whole world on board. We can basically have the whole world participating. Imagine just this vast network of conversations growing out of this, like roots of a giant tree. Remember in the movie Avatar, that giant tree? Now just imagine gazillions of roots just going all the way down to every last village, town, every last topic, right? All covered there. And what I'm envisioning is that, so we're now basically looking at 8 hours a week solid on the topic of food. And we're in that 8 hours right now. You know, 2 hours with Silas, now 2 hours after that meeting. That's a 4 hour stretch. And then the other, 2 hour period, 7 to 9 p.m. Friday night and whatever time Tuesday afternoon. We still need to work that out. But that gives us 8 hours per week, right? For the world to come together in conversation, right? And of course, I have no doubt many more meetings are going to pop up, but this can be kind of where we're, anchored, right? Where we really come together and really sort stuff out. And then in parallel, I'm envisioning we have a bunch of, Reddit threads, one for each topic, so that Reddit, are you familiar with Reddit, Jackie? Do you ever use Reddit? Okay, do you know the idea? Okay, it's really simple, actually. Have you ever participated in an online discussion forum on any platform where people are like typing stuff back and forth? Well, even YouTube videos are sort of a discussion forum that the comments that follow from it below. And you can write a reply to someone's comment, so that's an indentation. Well, Reddit takes that to the next level. They essentially allow infinite indenting. I don't know about infinite, but you can go like 10 layers deep. So it really lends itself to creating just a very nice, usable system for people to communicate asynchronously, right? I may get on 2 a.m, scan, type some stuff, go away for 2 days, come back, see the new stuff that got replied. People responded to what I wrote previously, and and if you get into the flow, it's actually really nice. And so I see a dialectic between the face-to-face, this is the maximum form. Hey, we need to figure this out. What do you think? What do you think? Let's figure it out. Let's tap in some other folks, invite in some other folks to the conversation because we need help, et cetera, et cetera. And then, complement that with the Reddit, asynchronous, synchronous, asynchronous, face-to-face, text-based discussion forum, whenever you feel like it. And that creates sort of like a brick and mortar kind of structure, where the Zoom video conferences are the bricks. These are like solid brickfuls of, content that we just pack in. But then surrounded by and held together by, to some degree, to a large degree, these asynchronous Reddit conversations where we can be much more specific. You can put in links and all that, take your time. Anyway, it's just a whole different modality of communication. And I think both are valuable. And the combination of the two is what's going to be particularly powerful. You don't see any houses built just of bricks or any other houses built just of mortar. It's the mix of the two where the magic is. Okay, so that's how I envision it. So you had your hand up, and I've been a bit loquacious here, so pardon me, and back to you, Sal.
I don't know where this fits into the conversation now, but there was this guy we were talking about in a group like Reddit. We were talking about locusts because there's a lot of the locusts are in the news at the moment. They're gobbling up all the crops and everything. And we were talking about locusts as protein. You know, some people are harvesting them as protein. Obviously, non-vegans are doing that. And there was this guy who wrote this little poem, and it's only a few lines, and I just thought it was quite an interesting way to look at things. This is what he wrote. His name's Oliver Swingler, and he wrote, "The locusts consumed every plant in their path, leaving the land, soil, rainforest bare, an insatiable greed for economic growth and profiteering, leaving behind poverty, disease, starvation. When capitalist governments decided to emulate nature, did they have to choose such a destructive role model?"
Yeah, very well said. Very well said. You know, rather, you know, I'm reminded of Buckminster Fuller. Don't try to change people's minds, give them a tool, right? So, you know, talking with people saying, stop being a locust, you jerk, you know, stop. No. The tool is we just bring them food. And then they see just, whoa, everyone's doing just fine, actually. And food is moving, and we don't have to have all this combustion and destruction and death and murder and traffic jams and all this. We can all just chill out and eat and, you know, volunteer 10, 20 hours a week, whatever you feel like, right? And it all just works. So that's the tool that's going to show us that we don't have to be locusts, rather than, you know, go through some psychiatric process, shock therapy, whatever, to try to convince us to stop being locusts. Just give us the new tool, right? It's like the pre-vegans who don't know how to stop eating meat because they've never, you know, like, you know, when I, you know, was started to grapple with not eating meat, there was a part of me that was like, oh my God, I can't remove this essential stuff from my diet. What am I going to lose all my muscle mass? You know, is my, you know, what going to fall off? I mean, you know, it's you know, because you simply don't know, right? And it's ignorance. And I'm not exactly an, you know, uneducated person, right? I've got lots of reading and knowledge, and I talk to people. So, and yet there it was. It was like a belief that it just, you know, and because so much of food, so much of culture is food, period. Right. So it was kind of like asking me to stop being who I was and go be somebody else. Well, I don't want to be somebody else, you know, some freaking vegan who can't get it up, you know, come on. Right. You see, you know,
Jamen,
yeah, go ahead.
How did you make the transition? Did you do it in stages? Did you go forwards and backwards? How long ago was it? I'm quite interested in people's vegan journey.
Yeah, totally. Well, truth be told, I'm not 100% vegan, but I have given up meat for sure. And that for me was, you know, that was there. And there was a little bit of back and forth there as well. But now, having given it up, I'm, you know, yeah, I'll never go back to that. And I'm in the process of phasing out the other stuff. And, you know, it's just been a heck of a journey, but it was through educating myself, learning, talking with Silas, lots of conversations with Silas, going to these amazing vegan restaurants. What really got me, and Jackie and Melvin are both a part of this, was that restaurant, The Butcher's Son, in Berkeley, California. we go in there and, oh my God, the love, the peace, the compassion, it's just palpable. It's in the air. It's everywhere. Right. And it's just like, so for me, it was like the community. And also in working on getting, you know, collective intelligence off the ground, my best conversations were with Silas and Jackie and, you know, the other vegans. And and so then I went down to Arizona really knowing that, you know what, if there's anywhere that I want my baby of CSI to be born and nurtured and grow up, it's in a vegan community, right? And then vegan collective intelligence sprang from that, then vegan reflection. And so anyway, so for me, it's been, you know, just a gradual process of awareness, expanding awareness, but on multiple levels, right? Awareness of what an amazing community this is, and all the reasons, all the perspectives, and just kind of living into it. So anyway, yeah. Thank you, so.
Did you already start discussing, Jamin, the topics, a rundown of like what the conversations were going to be to start inviting people to? I had to get off and I was on a long call with my realtor, so I kind of couldn't listen to both. So I wasn't sure what you covered while I was missing.
Oh, no. We've been just having a beautiful discussion, but just about really the big picture and, you know, veganism and just helping people make the transition, the tool, the Buckminster Fuller like tool, to go from, you know, don't try to change people's minds, give them a tool, and this tool of feeding everyone. Oh my goodness. So just talking at that level. And in terms of the, you know, the specific topics themselves, you know, one of the things that we could do with this 2-hour period in particular, 1 to 3, could be that we chunk it out into those topics. And then we have, you know, we have that mapped out. I don't know if we really want to constrain ourselves in that way at this early on, right? I think, because I think that the opportunity is not just for somebody to come in and have a specific topical conversation for 20 minutes and get out. The opportunity is to really come and become part of the community. And the way that you become part of the community is by hanging out with us, right? Simple as that. Obviously, you can start off watching the live stream, you know, get a feel. What am I getting myself into? Who are these people, right? And then you just jump in. Right, that's how James did it. At first, he was just watching. He was watching us on a live stream, and it was like, I don't know, 2 in the morning or something. And it was just me and Nolan, and we're getting kind of tired. And it was me and Nolan, and maybe, you know, 1 or 2 other people. I don't know, but we're all kind of tired. And we just put out a general invite. Hey, if you're listening, join us. And so James, you know, accepted our invitation, jumped on in, and we've never been the same since. All right. And then the other wonderful folks, including his daughter Stephanie, and my goodness, look at her wonderful contributions. All right. So I think anyway, bottom line. Yeah, go. Yeah.
No, just a quick response to that, Jim. And all I can say to that is, we, both myself and Stephanie and I, have never been the same since either. Since I jumped on board with this, like, and all for the best of reasons, like, so, you know what I mean. That's the thing. Like, this is not just about coming on to share, to give. You're going to get so much more than you ever even dreamed of from joining this, because it is a family. So, cheers.
Beautiful. Thank you, James. Wow. Wow.
So our aim is to invite people to this new family that we've that we've co-created. That's our aim. And once they're here and they feel the love and they feel love, they'll feel open enough to contribute. They'll feel the love, the reciprocity. So that's our aim, is to really build this collective intelligence family. And that's how we're going to manifest Operation Stone Soup. Okay. Okay.
That's it. It's as simple as that. And if you think about it in terms of, like, see, right now there's 5 of us here in the meeting, right? Imagine, a couple few months from now, there's, thousands of us streaming in. But keep in mind, it all happens in stages, right? We meet twice a week. And so imagine that we grow by, an average of, 20% every meeting. Every meeting we have 20% than the meeting before. And so that means that every week we'll have over 40%, I think 44% more than the week before. So we go from 10 one week to 14 the next week to 20 the next week to 30 the next week to 50 the next week to 75 the next week, and so on. And so it just grows like that exponentially, right? And as we grow, we get better and better at kind of breaking ourselves down into breakout rooms and this and that, and doing, more multi-room. I mean, there's 5 of us here. What are we going to do? Break out into 3 rooms? Come on. So, but, and so for me, the fact that we've had these first few months with, with a nice critical mass of people, but not too many people, right? And not too few either, because this is perfect. It's kind of like it's a breath of fresh air that we've got this smaller, more intimate meeting following the bigger meeting when we had like 14 people on, right? I mean, let's face it, that's a little bit stressful, right? And so Jackie said the Goldilocks zone of collective intelligence. That's it. We're in the Goldilocks zone right now. But the cool thing is, the Goldilocks zone itself is going to expand and expand and expand as we make room for more sisters and brothers to join us, and as we get better organized into, the meeting rooms, breakout rooms, and all that. And that'll just be a natural evolution. Right? But step number 1, let's get more people into the living room. It's nice and warm, plenty of spiced cider for everybody. Let's sit around and tell stories. Let's get to know each other. All right. And now let's go from there. Well, let's break it down. Divide and conquer.
How did you end it with John and Silash as with like next steps? What was the end of that conversation?
Yeah. So basically, we left it that every Saturday from 7 to 9 a.m. and then every Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. and then 7 to 9 p.m. Silash proposed that we do it like that. So that way we get everybody all around the world, no matter what time zone. And then Tuesday afternoon, a separate 2-hour chunk from within the Solution Club, but prior to VCI. So anytime between 11 and 5, basically. We got a 6-hour window. We just need to carve out 2 hours of that for food. And you see how that's early afternoon is kind of right in the middle, in between 7 to 9 a.m. and 7 to 9 p.m. right in between there. So it kind of, it just creates more, it just creates more options for people. Of course, we'll be there for all that. But including this 2-hour segment, that's then 8 hours, 4 2-hour segments per week, right? So 8 hours per week, that's a very solid commitment to all of us coming together and sorting all of this out. And that's the mission. And we're not stopping until everyone's fed. From that standpoint, the pandemic is arguably the best thing that could have ever happened for ending hunger, feeding everyone. it's brought us all together. It's grounded us at home, so we can all just Zoomify, right, as much as we need, and get it all worked out through this magical teleportation medium. I mean, it's just incredible. We get used to it, and then it's just like any other tool, but because we're a tool using species. But this is just mind-boggling that we can do this. Just incredible. So, and this is, you know, this tool is morphing us into, you know, the phase transformation into a whole new species. This tool is gluing us together like we were not before, right? The fact that I can see my sister Jackie face to face, right? Hey, you know, you know, versus if this were pre-Zoom, you know, we'd be talking on the phone. But, you know, you're kind of listening, you're trying to imagine, is she laughing? Is she smiling? Is she stressed? Is she tired? You know, and then of course with the room here, people can just come and go. It's totally revolutionized the way we coordinate, you know. And so the collective, and remember I had the insight a couple of months ago, my goodness, collective intelligence, it's here. It's happening already. All this whole network of conversations, it's not terribly well organized, but it's in existence. That's the important thing. Well, we're going to bring a lot of order to these conversations through this process within our venues. And how cool that 6 of the 8 hours of meetings per week are within a 24-hour block party. So it's like, hey, you enjoyed that meeting? Stick around. We ain't going nowhere, right? How many times have you gone to some great meeting and like at the end, everyone has to go and you're like, dang, I wish I had more time with this person or this group of people, right? But now everyone's going into their cars and getting on the freeway and going to whatever's next on their schedule, right? And so we were just super fragmented. Now we can just freaking hang. Long format. No need to drive anywhere. So I think it's very important, very valuable to keep stock of that, because and here's the interesting thing. As people come to these meetings, you know, they'll be told this is part of this 24-hour collective intelligence block party. Well, what's that all about? Well, it's about, you know, feeding everyone, ending carnivorism, cooling the planet, healing Mother Earth, healing our brother and sister species and ecosystems, stopping the 6th mass extinction, refreezing the Arctic, stopping the release of methane, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All through using collective intelligence. And the first place we're applying it is food. And they're like, oh, okay, got it. So it's kind of like they, you know, automatically get an introduction to that big picture, right? Simply by showing up to the meeting, because of course they're going to ask, you know, where's the meeting? Well, it's here, and it's part of this larger thing, right? That's inevitable. So they'll very gently get exposed to the big picture, not because we're saying, hey, you need to agree to this and this and this and this and this, and you need to sit in on these meetings too. No, just, you know, this is what we're doing, and thank you so much for coming and joining the food effort. And of course, you're welcome to stay for as much of it as you want. Come and go, like I always say. So this becomes the vehicle by which we get humanity together at whatever stage they're ready. Pretty much everybody's ready for the food conversation. You know, 99.8% of humanity is ready for that conversation. And then, but, you know, very few know about SRM. Well, because of what I just said, way more people are going to start to learn about SRM as we get good at collective intelligence. And the training wheels for collective intelligence are food healers. Operation Stone Soup, the food part of Operation Stone Soup, right? That's great training wheels because it's so grounded and rooted in the ground. The plants are growing out of the ground with water and sunlight and air and soil. It's so grounding. So we're starting to build out our system of roots on a topic that has actual roots, right? So it's just this perfect training wheels for collective superintelligence. It's a very organic medium for growing collective superintelligence, the topic of food, all aspects of food, because everybody gets it. Everybody lives and breathes it and eats it every day. It's going into our mouths, for crying out loud. How intimate can you get, right? So we're getting super intimate with the topic of food, using that as training wheels to grow the collective superintelligence. As it grows and grows beyond its own training wheels, now it can take on SRM because it's smart enough to, having nourished itself on the topic of food, right? Go, yeah, yes, Jackie, go for it.
I'm wondering if we can have a conversation and advertise a conversation about how the violence that we're seeing, that we're always seeing, how it's just so blatant. I mean, it's just, there's a wound that's activated again in the collective. And it is a way of distracting us. It is a way of dividing us, whether it be conscious or unconscious. And I'm wondering if we can have a conversation that completely ties in our mission with the violence and how our mission can heal the violence. I think that because right now, especially our Black and Indigenous vegans are now having their attentions pulled away and put somewhere else. And I think, I feel as a collective intelligence, if we could bring those conversations back together, and we could bring the vegans that are now focused somewhere else, rightfully so, and bring it back and say, this is the action that we can take to not just confront this, but to get it at the roots and have them, bring them into this conversation with what already is activating them with a co-created solution. And I think that we can now invite them into this collective intelligence block party because we're speaking to their wound right now. And I think this is an opportunity for us to really broaden the conversation about food healers and the normalized violence and bring that awareness. Because it's breaking my heart. I'm watching posts this morning from friends in the community that are really, really wounded by what's going on. And they're upset at the vegan community that there's not more outrage, there's not more speaking up. And I understand that. And the thing is, what we're doing is exactly because of this. So I would like to give them a conversation, because Jamie, you're so right. It's all about the conversation and inviting them into the conversation of food healers. It's just a suggestion. It's just what's in my mind.
I love it. In fact, I would invite and encourage you to post on those same social media posts. Join the conversation. We're here to heal all of it. Join the conversation. Here's the link to join the Zoom video conference. And if you want to try before you buy, here's the link to the live stream on Twitch. Bam. We're waiting. We'll love to see you here. Join the conversation. Right? Join the conversation about healing all of it. It's time for healing. And yeah, part of that will include justice, of course, right? But let's put the focus on healing, right? Yeah, and I really like what Mother Teresa said about that. I won't go to protest against anything, but I will come to support, that which is positive and loving. However she said it, in healing. That's what we're doing. And the thing is, feeding people is the ultimate antidote to violence, right? Because in the worst case, someone's hungry, their kids are hungry, they will go out and do what they need to do to bring home food, right? It's the story of Jean Valjean in Les Miserables, the French, play. And it's universal. So if we feed people, that's the single biggest thing we can do to end violence. Is that going to automatically end all violence? I don't think so, at least not immediately. But listen to this. As we go into this compassionate, generous, abundant, nonviolent world, it's inevitable that that's going to have multiple, spillovers and impacts, because we are whole beings, right? We're all integrated. So if you come and drop this love bomb on me, that there's going to be food for you forever. What did I just win the lottery? The clearinghouse sweepstakes or whatever, that stupid stuff they used to put on television. Remember? What the hell is that? Anyway, whatever. Did I just win the sweepstakes? No. This is now a basic human right for all. It's going to be a whole new world. And that alone will transform us as a species. Right? So we got two major transformations happening at once. Everyone eating and collective superintelligence through hyperconnectivity of these video conferences. The world coming together, getting to know each other, working together, eating together, feeding everyone together. Because everyone's going to participate in one way or another, minus the 1% that just says, no, I'm a Republican and I don't believe in handouts, and they're locked up in their compound in Idaho, whatever. Okay, whatever, right? But everyone else is going to be in it in one way or another, receiving food, preparing food like Silas, delivering it like someone else, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Everyone's going to be in it. And therefore, everyone's going to be in on the same global mission. And we're all going to be meeting here. And we're going to be erasing the lines that used to divide us. Can you imagine Israelis in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv on video conference with people in the Gaza Strip, sharing with them about how to do indoor permaculture, right? Hey, aren't we supposed to hate each other? And then everyone laughs and then they get back to work, right? That's it. There's the healing between, different groups in the Middle East. It's right there, right? Iraqis, Kuwaitis, Iranians, Afghans, Kurds, right? Just sharing knowledge, participating, right? Because you can't come in here to wage hate, and we've already got a pretty good system of taking care of people, filtering out people who really don't belong here because they're not ready. Not because we don't want them here. We want everyone here. But you also have to be ready to be here. You can't come in here spreading hate or, being mean to people. All right. So this place becomes a place of healing. It becomes therapeutic, right? And integrative. We're in the process of integrating together, reintegrating. We're becoming a species of one colony, one human colony. A species of one, not a species of 8 billion. And this process, collective superintelligence meets food healers, right? That is Operation Stone Soup. It's collective superintelligence meets food healers. They feed everybody and then cool the planet. And then, maybe take a day of rest at that point and then back at it and solve the rest of the problems. But those are the two biggies. We got to feed everybody. We got to cool the planet. Go for it, Jackie.
I was telling a friend of mine yesterday, I said, all of a sudden I feel like, and I'm antiquating myself. So I said, I feel like collective intelligence is the head and food healers is the heart of Voltron. I feel like we've gathered all these different pieces together that didn't know that we were all part of the same whole and all working towards the same thing. But it took the collective intelligence and it took the heart to come back together and magnetize through the law of attraction all of the pieces that needed to come back together. And I feel like that's what's happening. And that was the urgency. And I think that was the response to this urgency that we're seeing all around us. The fear is activated. Anxiety is even worse. I mean, what's going on in New York, it's scary. My son's friend, they lifted here in Arizona, the restrictions. And within 4 days, he already had to break plans because his friend was exposed to COVID, and his parents were tested positive. I mean, 4 days after they opened. So there's now the cases are rising again. So this is not going away. This is we don't know all of it. We don't know the truth. This response is necessary. And I think this is where the urgency is coming from. We're all feeling it. And it is about the food. It is all about the love, the altruism, the food, and the reflection of just saying what's right is right. And that's it. It's just.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry if I'm not interrupting. Okay. I mean, this is fast becoming the place to be. This is fast becoming the answer, the community, the place, the mission. Because it has to be worldwide. We can't have it separate. And we are worldwide from the get-go. 24 hours sweeps the whole clock for everybody.
I just want to jump in, if I may, and say something, because just going back to something you said, Jamen, about us becoming one species, one human species. Is that what you said? Did I hear that right? Because we're more than one.
A species of one, as opposed to a species of 8 billion, where the one is one colony, as opposed to 8 billion. Back to you.
Right. But I actually want to take that further, because we're not just one human species. We are one family of
Many species all connected as one family. So we are changing the way we view our relationship to the world that we live in. You know, I just had a deer out here at my studio. She let me get 2 feet away from her. She didn't move when I came out with the food. She waited for me. This is connection. This is one family. She understood I wasn't going to hurt her, you know, that I'm at peace. I am a loving person. And so this is the big shift also that we're coming into now, that we are one family on this planet. We just happen to be human. So we're a little bit behind the other species.
Beautiful, sweetheart. Wow. Yeah, that's it. We're one world. One world, not just one species, one world. And when we start sharing the food, right, that's just the first step to sharing the love generally. And it's going to become contagious, and it's going to be like, you know what? It was felt so good for me to bring my food this time. Tomorrow, I'm going to bring my food and my toys, right? And it's just going to become a world of sharing and caring.
And we have to bring food to the other species too, which means giving the land back to Mother Earth, restoring natural habitats, feeding hungry animals like the polar bears whose habitat has been destroyed and they can't go fishing anymore. We cannot forget our other brothers and sisters. This is crucial.
Yep, absolutely. And it's interesting, as you were talking about feeding the deer there and the deer getting closer to you, as you know, Melissa, but the others don't know, the crows have been getting closer and closer to us, bringing us their babies, right? I put out oatmeal for the babies yesterday, and oh, it's just so cute. And they're flying closer and closer to me. They're landing. Yesterday, they landed in such a way that they were blocking me from the house, but it was their way of showing we trust you. You're part of the community. And I just laid down on my back and just took it all in, right? So, you know, it's like it's all happening right now, the whole of it. And the cool thing about the block party is we got 24 hours to talk about the whole of it. 4 hours talking food? No, 6 hours talking food on the block party. We got 18 hours to talk about everything else. And we got a lot to talk about last time I checked.
You know, what started the conversation Mary and I had about earlier this week, where we just felt like we have to do something. It's like I was driving to her to go do yoga, and I'm listening to Democracy Now! In the car, and they're talking about how the number of children in New York that relied on the breakfast and lunch at school for their only sustenance, only 15% of those children are actually now getting food. And that's so heavy. Like I had such a pit in my stomach when I got to the park that I was just like, do you know what I just heard? Not only there's so many children that's their only meals that they rely on, that's not a travesty in itself, but only 15% of now those children are actually getting meals. What are we doing? Why are we doing anything else? I could not sit with that. And it's like, what else do we have to know? What else? And then we keep getting distracted by all of this violence that's taking our attentions away here. And it's like, we have to create that narrative. We have to show that narrative through art, through conversations, through our being, through our service, that this is all one cause. And this altruistic, this gift of love that we're doing is really inoculating all of this at the roots. And I think that's so important. If we can show people that, I think that's going to draw people into the conversation from all different backgrounds that feel like, I'm dealing with this over here. What does that have to do with me? And I don't know if that's something we do collective. Do we do that as individuals in our own communities and bring that? But to me, that's that interconnectedness that people, at least it worked for me. I can speak for myself. When I realized that I was fighting so many different fronts and I saw the interconnectedness, it brought me here. It brought me here to say, oh my gosh, I can narrow in my awareness and my energy and focus here and take care of all of that. That made me feel empowered. And that's what drew me to the collective intelligence and base camp and all that. Was like, wow, I've been effective in all these fronts. Imagine I put all that effort in one. And I think that's when I feel we give people agency and we feel like they can really do something. So I don't know how that looks. And it just keeps formulating in my mind. Like, if we can resonate that message, people are going to feel more empowered to come and encouraged to come and be a part of the conversation.
Yeah. Well, you know what's fascinating is, because of network effects, the power of the collective intelligence, the collective IQ of all of us grows exponentially with the number of people who join, right? So what we're experiencing here, we ain't seen nothing yet, right? We ain't seen nothing yet. As this grows into this community, by the time there's 10,000 of us, I've long predicted, going back years ago, literally years, many years, that once we get 10,000 of us together, at that moment, the thing is just going to explode. Because among those 10,000 will be the artists, the poets, the philosophers, the marketers, the graphic designers, right? The memographers, the social media experts. They'll get together in a breakout room and they will figure out the promotion of this. And then it'll just go. So, you know, like I've said many times, an exponential has three parts: flat line, knee, and vertical. We're just coming out of the flat line. We're in the knee. We're somewhere in the knee. And it's about to go vertical. We just got to stay at it. And when it does, there's no turning back. And we're going to look back with nostalgia at these meetings when there were just 10 of us or so here. We'll be like, you remember those days when there was just a dozen of us or so? Grandpa, is it true that there were times that there were only 10? I just can't believe it, because everyone's in it now. I just can't. It just doesn't make any sense. What took people so long? Well, we were a lot dumber back then. Kind of brain damaged from all the colonizing and this brutal game that we were forced to this game of survival, and that everyone's your enemy. The kids of the future, they're going to look back and just like see this barbaric past, right? I mean, like, I remember in school learning about the Aztecs in Mexico, and they'd crack people's skulls open on the top of these pyramids. And I was just like, that was so barbaric, right? Well, it's like that, looking back at our ancestors doing that, and then versus looking back at pre-COVID, right? The pre-COVID years. So it's just, it's biblical. We used to think that biblical pertained to biblical times. We're living the biblical right now. We're in the process of transitioning out of that nightmare and into this utopia that awaits. And speaking of utopia, welcome, Forrest. Welcome back, Forrest. Good to see you. We're just having a good, inspired conversation here. We are recording and we are broadcasting live on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Radish Live. I'll just put it in the chat. Actually, I better get let me copy that. There we go. All right, it's in the chat. Oh, wow. Wow.
That video that James shared was so inspiring. I cannot get that man's voice. What a beautiful voice. Like this. I was just like, I'm going to watch it again. It was so beautiful. It just made my heart just,
Well, and that's Ireland for you. It's just the whole culture. It's just a singing culture, right? And oh my goodness, yes. And see, that's the beauty. I had never had video conference with people in Ireland before. Ireland was some country on the map, kind of out there in the sea, all by itself. It was just this mythical place. Now it's real. See, this is us just waking up and like all connecting with our sisters and brothers all around the world and starting to do this dance together called Feed Everyone. And you know what? It feels good. It feels great. I can't imagine not doing this dance. And so everyone's going to be jumping in and volunteering.
It makes you want to sing. And that's exactly what Tommy was doing while he was with the lads, and they were happily working away, and it made them want to sing. So they recorded them and put it up on Facebook.
James, would you play it again?
I think it was Jackie shared it because I'm unable. I'm on a phone, you see, and it's very awkward for me to try and share it on the phone. All I could do was share the link.
do you need me to try to share it, Jamin?
Hey, if you want to share it again, go for it. Why not? Heck yeah.
All right, let me pull it up.
And remember about checking the share computer sound box.
Grows around the blooming heaven. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to the white mountain tide, all around the blooming heaven. Will you go, lassie, go? I will build my love a tower, a young pure crystal fountain, and on it I will pile all the flowers of the mountains. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to the wild mountain thyme, all around the blooming heaven. Will you go, lassie, go? If my true love she were gone, I will surely find another to pluck wild mountain thyme, all around the blooming heaven. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to the wild mountain thyme, all around the blooming heaven. Will you go, lassie, go?
So beautiful. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you for playing that. All right. Well, no one's in the queue at the moment, so jump in. What a wonderful conversation.
That was awesome sharing, James and Jackie. Thank you, guys. My mother used to sing that song all the time.
You know, one of the things that's so exciting about this time is that the work itself is not obvious, because we're totally breaking new ground with every meeting. I mean, just look at last Tuesday's meeting, the Solution Club, and how we got to this whole new level just by being with each other and just celebrating how far we've come and just talking about it. So I just really think that's something to embrace, is the non-obviousness of the work that we need to do, and that it just emerges. It just unfolds before us like an adventure. We're playing choose your own adventure, and we're choosing to ensure that everyone has plenty to eat and that we all come together. That we all come together. All right, is anyone waiting to speak? So I see you got your microphone unmuted.
Jamie, can you tell me, I heard Sarah mention that she wanted to talk later about the SRM and the permafrost. Is there something in the news that's come up recently about that?
Well, there's a steady stream of bad news. I mean, because the planet's overheating exponentially, and we haven't found the brakes yet. SRM is the brakes to the planetary overheating. It's as simple as that. So we're groping for the brake pedal, while the car accelerates towards the cliff, the edge of the cliff. So it's just been nothing but bad news. I don't know if there's anything in particular that Sarah read. I am so focused on what we're doing here that I just really don't have time for all that bad news. It's kind of like, I'm like the basketball player who's just playing his heart out in the final game and not looking at the scoreboard, but just playing, looking at the ball, looking at the opponents, looking at my teammates, and just playing, right? So, because, you know, anyway, for obvious reasons, it's time to, like you said, Jackie, it's time to work. There's no time to complain, no time to wail, moan, regret, whatever. You know, here's where we are, and this is what there is to do.
I'm just wondering, you know, I'm going through my studio and downsizing and cleaning and reorganizing my mess. And I'm finding all these things, like, can you guys see that? Climate change conversations, you know, all these groups. I'm just wondering if we shouldn't do like some kind of media blast or something to all these groups and all these different people we all know as within our own group. And we had also talked about doing like a social media blast and talking about the elephant in the room, you know, like, well, so what are we going to do together, you know, to help save life on Earth? So I wanted to propose that as a possibility, that we could construct some kind of conversation or an invitation and actually just send it out and do a social media blast with it and try to encourage other people to join us. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that's my suggestion.
I think that's a great idea. And I want, and Jamen, I only got to write down a few of the things that you said about what the conversation is about. And I would like to include that like in the blast, but it went too fast. I've got, the conversation is about, and why we're doing what we're doing. It's about feeding everyone. It's about ending carnivorism, about refreezing the Arctic, healing Mother Earth, SRM. What were some of the other things that you threw out?
Yeah. And well, in fact, why don't we just do a video right now? Just do a separate take. I'll stop recording, start a new one. Shall we? And then we'll just say, this is what it is. And then we can play it back for ourselves if we want. But anyway, and then I'll tell you what, but let's focus on the take right now. And then, or here, let me just give you the list first, and then we can do the take, just so you got it fresh in your mind and you're ready for it. So, you know, feeding everyone, ending carnivorism, cooling our planet, refreezing the Arctic, healing all of our healing ourselves as a species, and while we simultaneously heal all of our brother and sister species and ecosystems. And that we're starting with ending hunger, and, you know, in the process going collectively super intelligent, and then being able to leverage that collective super intelligence to address everything else.
What was the last part you said about in the process becoming super intelligent, and then what was that latter part?
And then using that super intelligence to address everything else, all the other problems and opportunities. Anyway, I'm ready to record a video.
Can I say something else, actually?
Yeah.
I think there's this thing of asking people, do you want to be part of the healing of the planet, or are you going to continue being part of the harming the planet? You know, there's this bifurcation happening, you know, and if you part of the healing the planet, come join the conversation, and here's what the conversations are, or what the conversation is. How do we save life on Earth? Because that's the big bubble, right? And then there, within that big, or under that big umbrella, are all these aspects to how do we do that? What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. I think just focusing on the positive, I think it would be the most powerful. And saying, you know, come join us in a conversation on saving life on Earth, right? And healing, saving and healing, saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth. Saving, healing, and transforming. Because we first need to save life. Then we need to heal. And finally transform. And so it's saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth, starting with feeding everyone. Starting with feeding everyone. That's it. Saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth, starting with feeding everyone.
So what we're saying is that Operation Stone Soup is about cooling the planet, ending carnivorism, refreezing the Arctic, healing ourselves as a species while simultaneously healing all our brothers and sister species and their ecosystems. And we're starting, or no, we changed that. Oh no, I added ending violence and division. And restoring, what did I say? I put restoring. Let me think about that one.
Equality.
Go ahead, James.
Restoring equality.
Thank you. Restoring.
Well, it's actually equity is the right term now, because equality is not actually where everyone is at the same place. So I would replace equality with equity.
Perfect.
And I think we should also put something about creating or transforming, creating a compassionate world, you know.
Co-creating a compassionate world.
Yeah, that's good, Jackie.
World. Okay. So we're starting with ending hunger, and in the process becoming super intelligent and utilizing that super intelligence to address all the other problems and opportunities. We're about saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth, starting with feeding everyone. That's what I have so far.
Can you read the part before saving, healing, and transforming?
I'm trying to read my chicken scratch, so.
Sure.
We are starting with ending hunger, and in the process, becoming super intelligent and utilizing this super intelligence to address all other problems and opportunities.
Gotcha. Beautiful. Beautiful. I think it feels to me like the good starting point, the good sort of like title, saving, healing, and transforming life on earth, starting with feeding everyone. Because that starts with the 3 words that really describe what we're doing: saving, healing, and transforming. And then we say exactly where we're starting with feeding everyone. That's it. And then if that's the title and the subtitle, right, then the first paragraph is, you know, hello, welcome to Operation Stone Soup and the 24-hour collective intelligence block party, right? What could be more fun than that? Hello, welcome to Operation Stone Soup. Here, let me just start a new recording. Then we can just kind of practice. All right, everybody, I'll just do it. Stopping the current recording.